got it. Okay. Let's see. Just quick check of the time. Let's see. We did a pattern on Wednesday, and that was the Mountain View class. And one of the major things, if you kind of tune into those sensei show, he's always talking about, how everybody gets caught up in the awareness. And we miss the feel experience. Okay. Now the awareness of what? The feel experience of what? Okay, another question. But I thought we had a pretty good pattern on Wednesday. And so I thought we'd explore a little bit more of that. Okay? And one of the things, you can practice in many different ways, but our pattern was being more present through the body. Okay? Being more present through the body. Now, there's a lot of stuff that goes on up here. Okay? And this is important, by the way. Getting this in order helps this. But conversely, it goes the other way. This in order has an effect here. So just being present through the body. Now I'm sitting here. I began to feel, okay, I know I'm breathing. I know I'm breathing better. I'm feeling the breathing. I'm feeling the breathing starting to collect here. Starting to feel my feet on the ground. Starting to feel a nice relaxed straightness up and down through the spine. Now, I'm aware that I'm feeling this, so there's a little bit of that, but there's the feeling aspect. I'm aware there's a lot of tension, usually in the jaw and the neck, as I kind of begin to feel it. Tension begins to dissolve. I get a sense that the head sort of can float on the spine. Okay, so that's just a rough, quick type of thing. Cliff, anything for you on that? It's just, I don't know if you worked the pattern or not, but being more present through the body.
I'm just kind of settling into it. So
okay.
No revelations yet.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's a tricky one because, all the steps are important. And a lot of what I'm talking about is, in the cosmic flow of things is seemingly kind of mundane. Okay. Now what we're going to do, being more present through the body, we're going to add some motion now from here. It's just, I'm going to stand up. Yeah, standing up. But being more present through the body. Standing. Right? I notice I use the support of the floor instead of leaning to stand. There's some natural motion there, but okay. So what I'd like you to do a little bit, just focusing on being more present through the body. The standing motion, also the sitting motion.
There was just that old
Then when I'm sitting here, of course, we're doing the motion. There's kind of a relaxed readiness idea. The body feels loose, free, ready to move. A relaxed readiness. So I'd like you to try a couple. If you have a, you can do this seated, standing if you're sitting on the floor. It's a little more work. Again, no, at this level, there's nothing cosmic happening, but we're just building up. Anybody notice anything, Cliff, anything on the, we're starting with some motion, but being more present through the body. Anything?
Yeah, actually a little bit ironic. I focused on standing up and then sitting down and then standing up and sitting down.
Yeah.
And then I had to stand up for reasons unrelated to class, and I just did it, right? The way one just does it. And that was the best one, right? Because I was just going on instinct, and the way, an animal would go without any interference from my higher consciousness, and everything just flowed. So.
Well, a story that I heard once is about the jazz trumpeter Chet Baker. He used to play the trumpet in the shower. And I thought about that for a little bit. And what I came up with was, I'm going to play. It becomes a big event. And all that. On the other hand, I'm in the shower. That's me. And, in some sense, it's just me, I'm taking a shower. And maybe what he found was, he got a little too nervous trying to play, but this was still Chet Baker, and give him a horn. He's in front of a big audience, and Miles Davis is out there to check this kid out. He's going to just be in that same space where he takes a shower. I got to get some elevated place. No, I just got to be here. And I can't let that disturb that. So kind of the same thing. Sometimes it's like, oh, the best one. Wow, I just stood. All right. So kind of file that away for a bit. David, anything so far? Doesn't have to. Okay. Now, it's the same thing. Just takes a second or two because I'm getting very busy up here. Being more present through the body. Notice, for example, that when I did that, my better center is not here. It actually just almost like a metronome moving. But then again, this kind of settles in. Oh yeah, this is a better position. It has more back to it. So the body actually has a kind of what we call almost a corrective sense to it. Now here, if I really wanted to. I posture just a little further back, not leaning back or trying to, okay, I got it. There's a natural kind of correction through the body. My feet feel kind of vibrant and alive, even though we're just. Now we stand up. Sit down. They're two equal motions. Up here, you go, I gotta sit down. Up and down. Down. Body kind of finds that better center. That better center allows the standing motion to be a little better. Okay. So, try a couple more. We'll check in, and then we're going to leave the chair and do other things. Okay. Okay, got a couple of them. Anybody? Anything about that? So we continue the pattern a little bit. Being more present through the body. Anybody? Cliff, anything on your part? Just sitting, standing.
Nothing additional. I'm still thinking.
Okay, yeah. I mean, there's this going on. Okay, I'm trying to figure this out. Okay, that's natural. But there's also just the feel experience going on. That's what we're kind of working towards. And those Sensei likes the expression play the percentages. Yeah, we're going to be 80% awareness, maybe 20% feel experience. But then you're to 25%, 30%, 33%. Okay? And so a couple of things as we, it's almost like you float up. Float down. Here I'm kind of, I'm aware my feet are on the floor, but it's almost like there's that support. Oh. And the body is ready to go, or it's ready to, if you're a 16th century samurai and you're facing somebody with a live blade and you've got a live blade, you don't want to be too jittery. In fact, if you really were here, maybe you wouldn't even have to use the sword. The other person might just go, uh-oh, and leave. Or if they're going to cut, you'd be right there. Okay, so that's what I mean a little bit. There's a lot of awareness going on, but then just starting to settle in. Being ready, being present through the body gets you a little bit more into what the docent calls the feel experience. And initially, this is very fancy. This isn't quite. Okay. Yeah. So there's a tea master story where in Japan, a tea master gets kind of challenged for some reason by a rocket samurai, who just wants to win. So he's going to challenge his tea master. And the tea master, nothing with a sword at all. So he's going to lose, he's going to die. And so he goes to a sword master and says, basically I'm here because, I'm in this situation with this guy. I know I'm going to lose, I know I'm going to die. So I want you to teach me how to die. I got no chance. I'm no good with a sword. And so the sword master says, hey, wait a second. Yeah, I get that you may not know the sword, but I said something from you. So who are you? I'm a tea master. And so the sword master says something like, I want you to make me some tea. I want to see you. And so the tea master kind of finds his experiential place as a tea master. And he's masterful, more than just the ceremony. And then what happens is what? The sword master says, wait, that place you're in right now, I'll tell you, when you face this guy, show you how to hold the sword, put it like this, close your eyes and pretend you're serving tea. And he says, it'll be I-Uchi, which means you're going to die, but you're going to take him with you. And so, the tea master goes out, he remembers that, and he's not a swordsman, but he's a master of something. Mastery doesn't include what you know. Mastery has something to do with being in the field experience. This is too volatile sometimes. And some of the field experience comes through, but so he does this, closes his eyes, and the Raka samurai is just there to kind of put a notch in his belt. Runs. So I'm saying a little bit, the feel experience of. Okay, so that's a little Zen story, all right? Very Aiki in some way. Anything before a couple other things we want to kind of get to a bit?
Just that I did get another insight just recently, which is, I took the beginning Tai Chi recorded class last night with one of my mentors who has been doing the beginning with me. And you went into the opening moves at great length. And so I felt going up and down, and when I'd done it a few times and my conscious mind was finally starting to get out of the way, it reminded me of the feeling of entering the first movement, the commencement movement in the Tai Chi. A similar kind of feeling, a similar kind of sense of movement. So I just felt that was my insight.
Yeah, one of the things about initially I'm learning from, I did perform, but there's something that lingers past that if you've done a good set. Okay? And so, whether or not you're just, Aikido, Tai Chi, they're kind of like brother, sister arts, but they work off the same paradigm, don't they? You're doing an external form, which the mind, sort of puts a lot, you have to be present, okay? Initially, you got to pay attention. But then again, there's also the field experience. When I was with Master Choi, I'd watch him. And, I'd be perhaps on my own, but my breathing would shift myself. And what I did more than anything else was just try to get in the field of experience of his energy. And what was really funny, was, I started Tai Chi, I think it was in spring of 1970. In spring of 1973, I wound up, I went to Japan. And I wasn't a black belt, I was a first kyu, a high brown belt. I just taken a brown belt test. And so I just told him I'm going to go to Japan, maybe traveling for a bit. And so he looked at me and said, okay, if you want, I'll certify you before you go. Oh, took me by surprise. So I said, sure. He said, there's a test. I said, okay. So all he wanted me to do was go through the 54 movements. And the only thing he corrected me on was I had my elbow in. So, all right, okay. And then he showed me a couple of things. He says, and the other thing that was kind of funny, he says, you have my permission when you're traveling to enter full contact matches. Thank you. I never did. Some of the Aikido was kind of full contact, but that was a whole other thing. But I think what it was he wound up. So I got that. I learned karate. You kind of learn in the life form where the hand's supposed to be, where the feet are supposed to be. But more than anything, what I really tried to do was to, he was in a space, he was a master. I'm not being a master, learning. I tried to be in that space with him. I was honest to God, that was about it. And I studied with him probably up 2.5, 3 years. And then I did more work after I got back from Japan. Okay. I learned the saber, the sword, things like that, which I didn't know at that time. So that part of it, Tai Chi, more presence through the body, they're very similar. Okay, anyway. Edo Sensei likes to sit stand quite a bit. And for example, I'm just going to take a couple steps here. I'm just going to walk. Now, a bit more present through the body. No planning or my feet found behind me. Really so I'm just walking, but being more present through the body, conscious of the room, not just I'm stumbling around here by myself. We're conscious of the support of the ground. No. Now, right about there, for example, the Tai Chi place, boom, you can or boom. Master Choi used to, just be here, boom, and all of a sudden he'd be right there into emotion. There was no, I'm not doing this. So there was no area right there. I was, wow, he could just, boom, just explode out of nothing. And of course, we got the noise outside. So more conscious through the body. Mind, I get aggravated about this movement. The body itself. The walk changes a bit. Now, what's happened is a dimensional shift. All of a sudden, I'm walking versus this. But those who say, the energies are walking before there's a walk. Little different level, but I'm gonna stay through all that, just being more present through the body. And close observation, I begin to kind of feel a bit like I've done a couple of Tai Chi sets. The weight is relaxed, it's underside. The breathing is naturally here. So I haven't done a Tai Chi set, I've just kind of taken a couple of walks. Yeah. I feel loose, but pleasant. Okay. Maybe a little bit of, how a team master might feel. This is a ceremony, but you're a master. It's not about all that outfit. It's about you and how you piece that together. Okay. Anybody with a comment on just the walking? We walk a lot, so just saying, okay, I'm going to walk, and we practice being a bit more present through the body. Anybody? I think I kind of want to move my hips, not forget about any dance moves or whatever it is, but the body. The body starts to kind of feel itself. I am so present here. At that level, the body itself is in a different zone with itself. But we're staying about it. Try to study that zone as possible. And you will. The top to bottom, bottom to top. Okay? Anybody? Cliff, anything you want to add to that, or anything at all? You don't have to.
Not at this time.
Okay, yeah. And what I thought we'd do, okay, because we've been working on a better body, or no, not a better body. We all like a better body, but being more present through the body. And Cliff brought up the Tai Chi, for example, certain things, better level of being more present to the body. I'm much more aware, actually, more conscious of energy flow. Now these are Aikido related. The Tai Chi would be a little bit more like that. Okay. So what I'd like you to do is we've been walking. Open the movements up with that better level of body. For example, like right here, I'm kind of getting, spirals. Now, if I'm a little up here, then I start to spin out on this spiral. There's a nice center here, boom, boom, boom. Being more present through the body. So movement is a great tool. Okay, so we'll get a move of it. Anyway, they're just opening up to where we're present through the body. I become more conscious of energy flows. It's like rain descending and gathering into a vast lake or ocean. It's like water, kind of evaporating, going up, forming clouds. Then too, then you start emotion itself. Just look up, somebody got it. All comes from being more present through the body. Okay. Any thing anybody can add there? See, a lot of times, we talk about energy, and we're talking about what we call more of an awareness of it. There used to be a term, energy awareness, in the 70s, and Nado Sensei was one of the champions of that, right? But then, if you kind of follow his broadcasts, there's kind of the feel experience of it, which is and includes. If I can't be in the feel experience of other dimensions or energy if I don't understand the feel experience of the body. Okay, that's just a basic. It holds. Now, I'm on a better body. Okay, you can go out, work out. Guess what? Your body's going to go eventually. All right. You may be smart, but even Sheldon Cooper, you may get Alzheimer's. This is bad. Like the system is kind of rigged against us. But even though we're using the body, we're tracing kind of the feel experience Cliff, anything you can add? You don't have to at this point, but
Just a sense of flow.
yeah. No, that's an important one, by the way. I'm carrying too much up here. I'm trying to do it out there. Start to quiet down. Start to feel the body a bit more. Be a bit more present through the body. Then all of a sudden, you might see my body moves better. My body moves better. Yeah, okay. Things flow a bit better. Okay. And for me, one of the things here is okay, work. Horses rising, gathering at the top, standing back, collecting underneath. Those horses moving, be able to move in circle spirals. Feel the experience of it. Tai Chi movement, partition well versus main. Okay. So you're starting to feel more flow. Eventually, as I get a bit more present through the body, there are just flows that are going on. Oh, I go for a ride? Okay. And Michael Moorcock's multiverse, okay, I need to get from here to there. If I'm Elric, maybe I can awaken a dragon and the dragon will fly me there. That's where imagination comes in. Right. Okay. Okay. Anyway, anything but so the flow was good. It's very good. Okay, now, one of the things we've been doing more work with the Boken. And this is a tricky one because okay, now I gotta get ready. I gotta do da 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 dee da da. Yeah. Yes, you gotta know the grid, right? But all I'm gonna do right here is fire away. Okay. And it's interesting right there that my cuts are really good. And I can go right from the beginning and go step by step. That's good. But, we've better level of body in terms of, being more present. Better level of cut. So we've been doing this. Feel like it? And This is a nice, easy rhythm. There's also some things going on I call extra dimensionally, which are supporting this. But I get too much sometimes caught up in the extra dimensional activity. And I'm on the kind of what the docent calls the awareness of. Better presence through the body. I go through all the stuff that I do to get ready to do this. Okay? Okay? So, that's a case of, I mean, I don't know what the experience was like. But for me, it's surprising to me that, you know, I didn't do my normal warm-up procedure, and, you know, you can tend to do, okay, now check the grip, check that, just to go right into the cut. But we've been working on a fuller presence through the body. And I'm just kind of curious, anybody notice anything out there? Cliff, anything for you that you feel comfortable sharing, or?
Yeah, you know, it started off, I was still a little tight, you know, and then I relaxed and I finally heard the whooshing sound again, which I wasn't hearing at the beginning. And that is an indicator that my body is moving in a united, synchronized way, that, you know, the movement is full body.
Okay. Anything about getting into that particular thing? See, for me,
I got into like a meditative headspace.
Okay. Yeah. No, we haven't really. This is tricky because, you know, we're kind of focusing on being conscious or being more present through the body, but there is an effect here. The problem with here is there's so much activity going on that a lot of times, you know, we're very easily distracted, or oftentimes I'm aware of what's out there. And the body is another pathway. So when you are becoming more present through the body, this is being affected.
Yeah, you know, I maybe I'm not putting it as clearly as I could.
Yeah.
What I felt more was like my separateness from the environment I was in was less, right?
Yeah.
Like I was just part of the room. I was the part of the room that happened to be doing sword cuts, but, you know, I was integrated in the room.
Yeah, you know, the thing about it is sometimes the actual language is important. When you're more present through the body, you and the room have a simpatico. Whatever space you're in. And a lot of times, you know, I hold myself here and I'm separate from that. See, Sensei's big thing was, you know, do Aikido to become one with the universe. Now, the universe is a little bigger than our room, right? But if we're holding ourselves so separate, maybe the room is not, you know, we can, then that particular thing was another level, then, you know, I don't know that we'll reach as one with the universe, but maybe we'll get a much bigger sense, a truer sense of who we are. And this kind of tends to go, this can be very unstable. I'm having a great day, blah, blah. But all the while the body is going on. And as the body kind of starts to feel itself, you know, in a more present way, this, and even the emotions start to integrate around the body. Okay, so yeah, we're not talking about those other systems, but there is an effect. Okay, so It'd be really nice if Joe Biden and Donald Trump could give each other a hug. You know,
That seems highly improbable.
that seems incredibly improbable. What's the problem? This up here is polarized against that out there. And you know, we were kind of saying we're all members of the same team. It's called the human race. And so, you know, there's a point where, you know, there may be issues, but, you know, to lose that, you know, is really sad. You know, since they said things like Aikido is to create the world as a family. That's what he meant. I mean, you can go out there and just pretend to hug people, whatever it is. You know, if you're a politician, you kiss babies and hug people to get their votes. You know, I mean, it's the point where, okay, how much of that's genuine? Some of it. And we kind of notice that certain people are genuine or more genuine than others. But yeah, that's the beginnings of something pretty big. So just like the flow, it's also very big when you start to go, but yeah, I'm kind of feeling one with the room, sort of, you know, that's big. That's big. You're getting the language to talk about something which is a feel experience, which is different than talking about the awareness of it. Important. Okay? So, all right. Now, the other thing we can do, we're moving along. Okay. Now, one of the things that can kill this is pattern and ritual. So what I thought we'd do, that way, just go through our 30 movements. Okay, now, we spent a lot of time being more present through the body. Now we're going into territory that involves repetitive practice, okay? Okay, so movement 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, is both up and down, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30. Okay. So now, couple things I kind of noticed. Yeah, there's a form, the structure going on. But about the last third of it, a lot more flow started to happen. Okay. And a lot of times I'm doing it, but I'm not so conscious of it. All right. Now the question is, let's do a second step. Wow. I notice right here, for example, the posture is straighter. I'm not so much staring at the stick as the stick is itself is almost up and down through my spine. Okay. 2, 3, 4. Now I'm changing directions through the movement here. 5, 6, 7, both up and down. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 4, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. And then what started to happen the last 2/3 is each movement seemed to contain the next one. So there was much more of a connected feeling. Okay? I'd like you to, just take a second or two. Some more presence through the body. And for me, that would be a little more natural breathing, so like deeper. And again, that better level of body starts to kind of feel energy. Boom, 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 boom. It's a little bit more advanced. But even within this particular motion, boom, 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 those are beats. Okay? Now you might not be quite there, that's okay. But that better level of body will take you to finer dimensions. Okay? So try another one on your own, just going through the 30 minutes. Okay. So going through the anybody with anything to add, Cliff? Anything you feel like talking about, or?
Yeah, I'm starting to get a sense of me being in the room like I was with the sword cuts, but because this is more complicated, I'm more focused on what my body's doing than I was.
Yeah. Okay, now right there, as you, let's say, progress along there, the feeling of being in the room, and to some degree, the form becomes a distraction. You see what I mean? Because I'm busy doing a form, but there's a feeling of being in the room. And so as we build on the practice, that feeling of being in the room fills the activity. So again, really good placement along a progression. Okay, yeah, that's what we might take on it. But at any point, ideally, what the Aikido stuff is supposed to be is supposed to teach us about ourselves, and the body's a tool that oftentimes gets neglected. You can neglect the body by overdeveloping it. Body is a tool. All right, now, the big picture. What is Aikido? Aikido, for me, is a relationship between the universe and self. Okay. What is the universe? Well, there's a vast design to it. Okay, Albert Einstein's "all I want to know is God's thoughts." Because if I understand God's thoughts, that's what the universe is. But then there's kind of the matter energy, which is the body of it. And then we are as consciousness within that. And we're kind of locked in here. So as that consciousness goes from what we call I to more of an I self to the fancier terms, would be something like a soul or spirit, okay? But since there's just something in the secret teachings, he just says use the body to train the spirit. Okay, and so where's mind in that? Well, it's very important to develop the mind, which he did. He actually studied quite a bit of things. But his own practice, martial arts being body, I think he found that as there was a certain way where the body was developed, not just this way, but body was a tool, kind of a fast track. See, here I can get caught up in what's going on, which can be very good, but I can get caught up here. This is kind of like an express elevator. Now, the finer dimensions, self is finer levels of itself, and the universe is finer levels. And also here, we're in a very dense. So all that is consciousness packed in this dense. And there's the I with this noisy mind creating this sort of enclosure. So as the body starts to feel itself a bit more, things open up. Okay, this is something that we got 5 minutes. So, what I thought we do. Better body. We're going to do some sound work. We use the syllable ah. If you feel self-conscious, just again. But, okay, here I am. I'm going to do a sound. It's out there. Or I'm comfortable with it. Okay. It's starting to come from a little bit more up here. Starting to get the sound from a bit of a deeper place. Sounds coming from more of a deeper interior core. Almost a column of energy in that sound is reverberating up and down. Now that vibrating column of energy is what? It's a level of body. Body exists as a physical, various degrees of energy bodies. Okay. So that one, the sound comes from a deeper, much more interior place. In some sense, we haven't worked on it, but there's motion. Sound, breath, movement, all are enhanced as we get into the field experience of being more present through the body. Okay. Anyway, we're just about at 1 o'clock. Anybody with comment on the sound right there? It's more of an area of Aikido that, to be honest with you, kind of needs to be developed. Oh, Sensei, obviously that was a pretty big thing for him. Cliff, anything you can add to that? I don't know if you've actually tried the sound. If you're driving alone, and be careful of traffic, because you can get
No, I'm at home.
then crash. That's not about it. But you can practice in the car. Right? A lot of people do that. I was talking to Linda Holiday Sensei once, and we both do La Manchu Norito and stuff a lot of times when we're driving. Okay, or chanting. All right, be careful. Don't zone out. See, if your body, you don't zone out. Anything you noticed, or either from what I was doing or what showed for you if you were doing it? Anything?
Nothing in particular this time around, no.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The actual sense of things about for example, more presence through the body. There are things, there's a story which Nado Sensei, insists is true. It was actually written up in a newspaper in Japan, where one of O Sensei's followers, devotee students, was into golf. And so he takes O Sensei onto the golf course. And O Sensei's golf career apparently was one swing. And he hit a hole in one. And Nado Sensei told that to a man named Stanley Pranin, who did Aikido Journal. And Mr. Pranin's response was, "Ooh, if I really get into that, I'd have to totally revise my sense of what Aikido is about." And most of us say, well, we're pretty good with a sword, but give us a golf club. And there was something about O Sensei where, he was so present. He's on a golf course, there's all this energy for golf. And, he kind of just pull in one. Okay. And so see, practice is important, but I guess a lot of it is what we're practicing. I think it was 2016. It's the All-Star game. And, I think one side had clearly won. I can't remember. I think it was probably the West. And Kevin Durant and Stephen Curry were standing by the half-court line, just right towards the edge, right, baseline here, all right. And Curry was dribbling the ball, and, the time was going to expire. The game was already decided. And Durant wanted the ball because he wanted to take a half-court shot, show off. But Curry took one dribble and shot it and made it. And what happened is, I'm going to the why, because the Warriors are, and Curry was just wow, this is like incredible energy here. And so, one day, I actually go out there and I'm getting the ball to the basket. I didn't even know I could do it. And so I throw up a couple of ones that go in and they spin out. Then I go to the other side and I just make one from, just like you're inside the half-court line, but you're right at the corner here between the baseline. So it's really, if you do the math, it's just, you got this line here, but you also got these diagonal lines. It's a half-court shot, even though it's past half-court. And it's not throw the ball and make a win. It actually is a shot. And so what happens, of course, is I didn't even know I can get the ball there. But you've been working and, there's a better body here. more conscious. And when you start to touch the better level of body, you start to touch a better level of self, a better level of mind. Okay. And I'm conscious, that a lot of this is, most people shoot with their arms, but you get your core behind it, you get your feet, boom, boom, you can generate a lot more than you would think. I mean, the basketball is not that heavy, but getting it with form and precision to that hoop, that's something else. So the next day I go to where I actually make a couple. I mean, I just, I'm going to keep shooting until one goes in, right? And so, I start to have some success. So, I get Frank Silvey Sensei. Said, well, go to the Y with me. And he kind of filmed it. And so I had a couple of makes and misses, but I got pretty good at that shot. All right. I got pretty good at it. And so what would happen is sometimes I'd go to the Y late. All right. And there'd be a full court basketball game going on. But you always had a little bit of time when the ball was over here to go over and shoot. And then the game, and then the ball's over there, So there were a couple of times, I think it was about twice, where no warm up. There was, in fact, I've been kind of just shooting regularly. I take that one dribble that Curry took, and I hit it dead center. No practice, no warm up. So there's an area right there. I'm going to practice, and that's important. I'm going to have a better mental design of the basics. That's important. But there is this other dimension of feel experience through the body that Osensei clearly had. And it's more than just doing the form more times. Okay? So Osensei has a story where when he was training, people would say, oh, when I've been training as long as him, Osensei, I'll be able to do that or be like him. And what really happened is people got better as they got older, but nobody got there. And so, the Osensei and I, we do this kind of this weekly thing where we, still get together and try to piece together what he might have been doing this way. Okay, so that's kind of something that, to some degree, it sort of sustained me through these last 2 years because, with the pandemic, it's been kind of weird, But, the work continues if you're, on that journey, whether you're doing this or playing the horn or swinging a sword or whatever it is, or just simply practice right here, right now. Take a second or two, kind of clear, settle. More present through the body. We start to get a little bit more of a feel for being in the feel experience of. Okay, so if you feel like it, we'll work some more on this, whether you want to do a chant or you want to, whatever. The interesting thing about that was this was some years ago now. I can't remember the exact year. Dennis Kine was a student at the dojo. He's not currently active, but then a lot of people are. And he was playing with a man named Eddie Gale, who was a substantial jazz trumpeter. And Dennis and I had been playing, and then he was playing with Eddie. And so Eddie kind of came over and just wanted to jam. And all I'd been doing, believe it or not, was basically I'd been playing, but I put Chet Baker on, and I'd play along with Chet. Sometimes he would, especially I learned a lot of trumpet from learning his vocals because they weren't that complex. So I learned the vocals, and then I kind of would just be in that energy field, of the music. And so, of course, Baker is an all-time great. And Eddie is somebody who, you can be on that level, but you don't get noticed, right? Jazz, okay. And so, what happened is he would play, I would play. We just trading riffs, and I've got a video of it, which I should listen to because he actually videoed it. And what he told Dennis was interesting. I mean, this is like, he was given the title of Jazz Ambassador to San Jose by a former mayor. Eddie can, unfortunately he's since crossed over. Okay, but beautiful man. Treated me really well, even though here I am, But what he told Dennis was interesting. He says, I've never seen anything like it. I play, he plays, I get my sound back. And normally, I'm going dot, 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 but I listen to Chet Baker every day and I just play along with Chet. And here's this other jazz great, and I'm just, okay, I play with Chet every day, And he goes, I never heard anything like it. Well, trumpet-wise, I'm not that good. But I have an ability sometimes to kind of get into the field experience of whatever field I'm around, right? And Albert Einstein put it this way. He says that, if you can match the vibrational rate of a reality, you can't help but attract that reality. He said, this is not religion, this is physics. And so, when I was around Master Choi, all right, I was around Hikizuchi Sensei. When I was around Tojima Sensei, I was around Ano Sensei. When I was around Yanase Sensei, that was pretty much all I did. Was just say, okay, I should be as present as possible. And so you can actually investigate a lot of things that way. There's, of course, you do study, you do learn, but then sometimes we stay here. And so starting to develop the feel, experience, have, whether it's that or play or swing or it all comes through that feel experience through the body. Anyway, I think enough for today. We'll be in Mountain View on Sunday. So I thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Sensei.
Okay, let's just start out with, it's going to warm up with just a regular 1 and 2, okay? What we're doing right here, everybody knows this one to death, keep going. Just establishing a fuller sense of being present through the body. Okay, and we can also switch sides if you like. Doesn't change much. Fuller sense of being present. We can just be doing this as a warm up, but also establishing my presence through the body. I've got some hips. I feel my back. And 2 equal movements. There's the back, there's the forward. You may not know this, but when you're first starting, you get dizzy doing this because you're out there. But as you kind of continue, you got a center. So, you know, of course, there's motion here, but you're centered here, not so much you're going this way, okay? Just utilizing this, get some more presence through the body, okay? Now, that's my idea. I'm going to do it, but again, there's the actual feel of being present, okay? Yeah, I know about it. This gets very, very active, but the body is a little, we're not too active right now. We're going to get more active, but let's just a couple more. And it's kind of just get used to the 1, 2, the back and the forward. Establish your body. Sometimes you start to catch there's a flow for back and there's a flow for forward. It's a little different than just you know, you may not notice it because you've got a pretty good body presence. This is very natural. Okay. But for just watching, see, I'm just going back and forward. You know, okay. But on the other hand, here, I'm starting to feel like a breeze or wind. It swirls, goes back the other way. And when I'm starting to feel that beat back and forward, my presence through the body starts to also increase. It's just another step up from I'm starting to establish a presence is there's energy. Go. There's energy. And you can switch sides if you like. As well, you can play games like switch sides every fall. But you're not playing just a game. You're sort of in that flow in that. Right? Yeah, just pausing for a bit and just checking. For example, here I just have I got more presence through the body, not quite. But here it's just going back and forth mechanically. No, there's a nice easy feeling. We're establishing a center here. Okay. Yeah. Other thing we can do. Standing. Okay, now we're up here. Initially down there, sometimes you notice you get up here a little like this, but settle in. Back has been feeling the mat. Establishing a bit more presence, not just an idea, but through the body. Okay, I'll move over here a little bit. I don't know if this is going on tape or not. But I'm standing triangle because, you know, basically in this position, you're going to go back. You're going to take a break fall flat. Okay, but here, more of an Aikido fall. Okay, now, you know, it's a long way down there. First couple are gone. But you're feeling your feet, even down there. You've experienced a kind of a flow back and forth. Now we're trying to hit an up down, which is, you know, energies go this way, energies go this way. So what I'm going to do is, if I have that, I'm just going to settle, catch a little bit. Now watch me. All you're doing is sitting, and then you're going through the 1, 2. So go. 1 and okay, and also I'm standing up. See, I'm starting to lead with the shoulders, but I can start to kind of catch my hips and feet. So I'm starting to catch an up down. We're going forward and back. Now we're just catching an up down. So I'm going to trade sides. Okay. Sometimes, you know, you kind of go this way. There you go. But you can also, you know, you're just going to, all you're going to do is sit down. Okay. So we're going to do the up down and just use the back roll up down now. Establishing an up down. Establish the front back. If you have a part of your body you need to watch, you just watch it. That's all. Check. Okay. Clay Thompson is rehabbing a couple of injuries. You want him to be very careful And you also want them to get ready to play. So it's a balance. Keep going. The way is in practice. We did the front back on the ground. Now we're doing the up down. There's still a front back. Don't lose that. Now we're adding the dimension of an up down, a down up. And watching here for a bit. The first couple, maybe you're kind of here, and then you go, I got to get back up, you know. You start to kind of catch, as there was a flow here, there's also flow this way. And so, well, when you start, okay. You can ride the flow. You get this, start to get this, don't you? Okay? So keep going. And this can be exercise, but it also is a little bit past that. Exercise plus, all right? Yeah, good. Okay. Now, I'm going to go back here. Now we've established the front, back, back, front, the up, down, the down, up. Now we're going to start to establish the circle. Okay, circle, spiral. Now, what I can do to save space, just turn around, make sure nobody's going to get rolled into. Establishing your full range of motion. See, that's a circle. We're going this way, that way, this way, that way. Now we're establishing the circle, aren't we? We'll go. Do both sides. You could do it one side, okay. Keep going. Okay. Now, okay. Just start out with a simple motion. I get drawn out there, but if I get some presence through the body, I try to feel my feet, try to feel my breathing a bit, and all of a sudden, yeah. I'm doing all that stuff, and all of a sudden I come up here. Well, what's wrong with that picture? Nothing wrong. It's just that, you know, yeah, initially I'm going to roll. I feel kind of like, I have to do a couple. Start to be more present. I start to be more present. There starts to be more flow. Okay. You can't have flow without being a little bit more present. And the presence can't be an idea. Okay. So here, when I'm extended, motion starts out there. No, the motion is a non-motion. It's just you being more present, and you've been working through the body. Now we go into the form, don't we? Well, now right about here, I can even settle in a little deeper there. Okay. There's presence. More presence is deeper presence. Okay. Well, yeah, start the movement. Now the movement starts before my hand moves. Oh. Like that. Okay. All right. That's just our basic. One of the trickier things about this, okay, is that this is not something that you do. All you're doing is beginning to realize that being present through the body, not just the idea, great idea, is the gateway to some very important things. And in fact, you know, what we were kind of kidding about is if you watch the end game, the Avengers end game, you know, they lost. What happens at the end of The Empire Strikes Back? Darth Vader wins. Okay, you see what I mean? But Steve Rogers, he's hosting a support group. Iron Man says, screw this hero stuff. I'm going to have a kid, and you know, I haven't have a life for a while. You know, of course that ends, but you know, that's just an issue. But you know, they're alive. You know, Scarlett Johansson, the Black Widow, she's kind of keeping networks going between the heroes. What are you going to do? You just lost. You know, people you knew turned to dust. That's awful. I mean, that's a fiction, but you know, there's a point where the world, if you notice, is not going very well anyway. But doesn't mean you stop or you go, right? So in your everyday, just being a little bit more present, not just as an idea, but through the body. It's a gateway. Gateway, what is a gateway? There's a lot going on out there that we don't know about. This crazy, stupid guy who can turn micro size has kind of gone into the quantum level and come out and realize the time doesn't move the way there. So we get this crazy idea we're going to time travel back to before all that stuff, before we lost, and fix it. Because we can't fix it in present time, all right? But guess what? You know, in the movies, Steve Rogers is still Captain America. He's trying to help people, right? Scarlett Johansson is not out there kicking people around. She's, however, networking, establishing communication, keeping the networks alive, right? That's downtime. Now this is downtime, and we're up for. Well, you know, it's not like we can't beat Thanos. We killed him. Went for the head. You know, if Thor had done that, nothing would have happened. They would have been the Avengers, and what were you going to do? You wouldn't have Endgame at all. Okay, so stand up for a second. Yeah, just down here, for example, isn't that a great place? Your knees start to bark at you. You go. But you know, you're easy down here. You're present. Sorry. Math is a little. What happened to Spider-Man? He turned to dust. But he's somewhere. But he's not in the physical universe anymore. So all of a sudden, you know, we get that back, and the Hulk goes that, and all of a sudden, there's a counter snap to the snap. Wrong. But there's all that downtime, and you stay alive. All right, Anthony. All right. This is the point where we lost. Yeah, but I'll go to my support group and see if I can. Hey, there's Captain America telling you to hang in there. You know, check in with all the other heroes across the globe. That's Scarlett Johansson. Thor is the one that's really the washout, because all he does is drink. But you know, you don't have to be Thor. The event. Yeah, you already lost. This is downtime. But you don't give up. And that presence is the gateway to other things. Huh? Whether it's this movement or that movement. Huh? I had nothing to do. We already lost. Okay. Get that feeling a little bit. You might let go of a lot of junk. Okay. And there's a cubic centimeter of chance. My absolute least favorite, Marvel hero, Ant-Man, comes up and says, "Hey guys, I think we can redo this, because I've just discovered that time in the quantum realm is different. I think we can travel back and fix it." Right? And so right here, if you're stuck, all right, you go into the quantum void and fix it. He jams me a little quick. Well, okay, all right. Well, this is another way of looking at it. That's how Ki operates. All right. If I'm a statue, Ki goes into me and makes me a better statue. If I'm kind of scattered and stupid, Qi comes in, makes me more stupid. But if I'm being something a little bit more, Qi comes in and enhances that too. Okay, so just a seated Kokyu. Yeah, seated Kokyu motion. Boom, like that. Boom. Let's, all right, and same thing, you get up and go, my body. Okay, just settle for a second, let your hips fill in. When you come up, there's always practice, right? The legs feel dead, you let them recharge a bit. Okay, that's the downtime. Okay, let's change partners. Now, just present through the body. Present through the body. Something more we call the feel experience level, especially my idea. I know it's important. Maybe if I meditated more, I'd be a better person. That's good. Idea. But the energy oftentimes comes through, you. And if I'm in the idea of it all the time, guess what? The whole end game thing is we blew it. Darn you, if you'd gone for the head. And there's Thor, of course, he was one that went, okay. That's not, by the way, a good way of dealing with downtime. But a lot of people do, right? Okay, something. But there's practice. World War II, well, since there's farming, living in a little hut with a mud floor, downtime. Teaching a couple of sleepy kids, downtime. Then stop. Okay? Now, what we can do, for example, here is this motion. Come on, stand up. And we can make a change to keep that change alive. Now, all of a sudden, we're two statues. I'm just going to go there. Right? Now, several ways getting into it. One way, this motion, which means I make this is actually more of a Nikyo to Ikyo type of change. But then stand up. Yeah, stand up. My body is not a statue. It can maneuver. It can adapt. Not going to make this change. Now, right here, the elbow says, "I'm going to find your chin." So so Sankyo, I'm programmed. I'm not purely a statue, but I'm a robot with very limited programming. Twist the wrist. No, extend through the elbow. Okay, so we're not going to do the full takedown, but all of those things right here. Okay. Initially, you're out there trying to figure it out. More and more, the body presence. Okay, let's change partners. Okay, thank you very much.